Will you lose your gains if you have to do bodyweight workouts? Let's dive into it. An important place to start when answering this question is understanding how you define gains. How I define gains in the gym with my training will be dictated by my goals and how I like to train. And that will then influence what kind of shift we'll see when switching from my traditional training to bodyweight workouts. So let's say your definition of gains is a visible shift in muscle composition and body composition based on a hypertrophy style of training. That would be different than, let's say, my definition of gains, which is increased weight on the bar from a maximal strength point of view. So by defining exactly what we mean when we look at will I lose my gains when I shift to bodyweight workouts, we have to understand what we're actually questioning and what we're actually looking at. Are we only talking about body composition? Are we talking about strength? Are we talking about athleticism? This is critical because understanding this will then shift how bodyweight workouts will impact all these characteristics when shifting from our traditional training. So once you've defined what you're actually looking for when it comes to gains, shifting from your traditional training to bodyweight workouts, from a coaching point of view, I would say then consider two key elements. These elements include specificity of your training and your training age. Let's talk about specificity first. Essentially, think about specificity of your training being on a spectrum, right? Down here, we have highly specific. Down here, we have just very general training, just general strength training for that matter. The more specific you are with your training, the more of a shift you will see going from your traditional training to bodyweight workouts. That's not to say if you are like an avid weightlifter, you're gonna instantly see like a huge plummet in your muscle composition. This is more so saying that if you don't have access to practicing skills that are very specific for your strength sport, for your adaptation that you're pursuing, then you might see a slightly higher shift than someone who is just more general with their training, who does a lot of bodyweight workouts already on a regular basis. Now, another key aspect to consider when it comes to specificity outside of just actual skills, so like snatches, clean and jerks, deadlifts, is adaptations that are specific. So let's say you have a specific adaptation that you're going for, which is maximal strength. If you don't have access to a barbell or training implements that you can push that adaptation with, then you might notice a slightly bigger shift in your training when going to bodyweight workouts. Again though, this shift is not gonna be so big as many think it's gonna be. It's more so just gonna be a little bit more noticeable because you have been so specific for probably a while. But when it comes to coming back, you'll gain that back pretty quickly because my guess is if you're specific with your training, you have a good amount of reps and accumulation of training under your belt. So you will regain that pretty quickly compared to someone who had just started the sport of weightlifting and was just starting to understand the snatch and clean trick, for example. Now, let's look at training age. Training age is another important factor to consider when looking at what's gonna happen when you shift from, let's say, a barbell training style to bodyweight workouts. Basically, when I look at training age, I consider newer or beginner, and then more intermediate and advanced. Now, when bodyweight workouts are implemented for a newer lifter, generally that stimulus will be plenty to keep gains stable and growing. Honestly, most beginners are still in that phase of building their solid strength foundation. And when we consider what is a big driver when it comes to strength and so forth, it's effort. So for a beginner, a lot of times bodyweight workouts are going to require a good amount of effort, so they will still be growing. Now, when we look at more intermediate and advanced lifters, the pro over here is that once you have gained and built a solid base of muscle, it gets a lot easier to maintain. And honestly, the threshold for maintaining a base level of muscle isn't as high as many think. So for the advanced and intermediate lifters, generally bodyweight workouts, again, when paired with that idea of driving up effort, will be plenty to maintain their base levels of body composition and so forth. Now again, for the intermediate and advanced lifter, if they are very specific with, let's say, a bodybuilding style of training, they might notice a little bit more of a decrease just because effort is not going to be easily as attainable if you are used to literally pushing yourself to the higher upper echelon of volume training and so forth. But at the end of the day, both newer and intermediate and advanced athletes won't see as much of a shift when shifting to bodyweight workouts as they think. They might see a bigger shift when it comes to the specificity of their training, but when we account for muscle memory and all the skill acquisition we've already put onto our body, once we get back into the gym, we're going to regain that faster than what we probably think. Hopefully this video helps provide a little bit of insights and helps you relax a little bit when it comes to shifting from your traditional styles of training to bodyweight workouts or minimal equipment workouts. At the end of the day, it doesn't take a lot to maintain general strength levels and body composition that we've built over time. In fact, it's a lot easier to maintain than to gain. So when you are shifting to these styles of workouts, use them as a time to adapt and grow in different ways than what you're used to. Beginners, use this time to continue to drive your effort up and to continue to build a solid base of strength and grow. For intermediate and advanced lifters, this is a fantastic time to get creative with how you're driving effort up, but to also focus on adaptations or things that you might be ignoring on a regular basis. Things like stability, mobility, balance, all of these can be targeted more with bodyweight workouts and what we're doing right now when we are limited gym access. Think about the grand scheme of life and how long we plan to be training. This acute time frame of having to shift gears into bodyweight workouts and so forth is such a small instance in the bigger picture that really a lot of us are going to continue to grow during this time. It might not be mentally easy to adapt to, but if we are creative and open to pushing ourselves in different ways, we will still be adapting, still be growing, and so forth. It is important to remember though that just because we are shifting to bodyweight workouts or minimal equipment workouts, we still need strategy. And having a program that progressively ramps up intensity when it comes to our effort for various exercises is still needed to grow, adapt, and maintain. If you need a program like that, make sure to check out Physique Lab. We do have a Physique Lab body weight workout library that you can pick and choose what workouts you're going to be doing. And we also have a 12-week body weight progressive workout in the works for anyone who has limited gym access. You can get all of that for $9.99 or $19.99 if you want coaching with your program. Hopefully this video helps you relax a little bit if you are feeling that anxiety and pressure from losing gym access. Use bodyweight workouts as a time to focus on adaptations that you've maybe been ignoring and to continue to drive your effort up in creative ways. As always, guys, drop a like, drop a subscribe. Sincerely appreciate it. See you guys in the next one.